Welcome back, friends. It is one of my favorite times of the year. The druids are gathering at Stonehenge to watch the sunrise. The bees are drunk on clover. The strawberries are just coming into season. And the sun is at its absolute peak of power. It must be midsummer. Whether you know this Sabbath as Litha, the summer solstice, or St. John's Day, there is so much packed into this one moment in the wheel of the year. And today, I want to share all of it with you. In this video, we're going to cover what midsummer actually is and where it comes from, the history and folklore that makes this holiday so rich, the magical correspondences you need to know to celebrate confidently, and, most importantly, 3 simple rituals you can do at home using things you probably already have, even if your housemates have absolutely no idea what a sabbat is. Let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, what is midsummer and why should you be celebrating it? Midsummer is an ancient European fire festival that falls on the summer solstice, which is the longest day of the year. In the northern hemisphere, that typically lands between June 20th and June 22nd, depending on the year. If you follow older calendar traditions, like the Julian calendar, midsummer is sometimes set as late as June 24th, which is why that's when St. John's Day falls in the Christian tradition. You'll hear this holiday called by a few different names. In neo-pagan and Wiccan traditions, it's most commonly called Litha. That's a Germanic word that has been adopted into modern witchcraft. In broader pagan circles, it is simply called the summer solstice. And of course, the name midsummer has deep roots in European folk tradition, especially in Scandinavia, where it is still one of the most important celebrations of the year. Now, if you've been following along with our Wheel of the Year series, and if you haven't, I'll link those videos below, you know that the year is marked by 8 sabbats, or seasonal celebrations. Midsummer sits right at the midpoint between Beltane in May and Lunasa in August, and it marks the peak of summer. Here's what's interesting about midsummer from a magical standpoint. It's a day of paradox. The sun is at its most powerful. It's the longest day. Everything is in full bloom. And yet, from this point forward, the days begin to shorten. The light is at its peak, and tomorrow it begins to wane. That tension between abundance and impermanence is one of the things that makes midsummer such a potent time for magic and ritual. This festival has been celebrated all over Europe since the Neolithic era. That is thousands of years of humans marking this moment, building bonfires, dancing, making flower crowns, and gathering with their communities. When you celebrate midsummer, you are participating in something ancient and deeply human. Let's talk a little bit about the history and folklore, because I'm a nerd like that and I love history and folklore. Across Europe, midsummer was, and in many places still is, celebrated with massive bonfires. And I do mean massive. Communities would gather and light fires on hilltops so that the fires could be seen for miles. The fire symbolized the sun itself, and people believed the smoke and the leaping flames had protective and purifying power. One of the most widespread folk traditions was leaping over the bonfire. Young men would compete to see who could jump the highest, and it was believed that the height of your leap predicted your luck for the coming year. Couples would jump together as a declaration of their bond. Note, this time of year is also the most popular for weddings. Livestock would be driven through or around the smoke to protect them from illness and the evil eye. In the British Isles, there are ancient sites like Stonehenge that are famously aligned to the midsummer sunrise. Every year, thousands of people still gather there to watch the sun rise between the stones on the solstice. If that is not a testament to how enduring this celebration is, I don't know what is. In Scandinavian countries, Sweden, Norway, Finland, midsummer is still one of the biggest celebrations of the year. It involves flower crowns, maypoles, traditional foods like pickled herring and new potatoes, and staying up through the night, because in the far north there is barely any darkness at the summer solstice. For example, I used to live in St. Petersburg, Russia, and the summer solstice marks the end of the White Nights festival. On my last night in St. Petersburg in late May, the sun set after 10 p.m., and it was fully bright outside at 3 a.m. And this was late May. They still had like 3 weeks plus to go. Alaskans have their own indigenous celebrations celebrating the shortest night of the year. The boundary between night and day becomes thin. Many traditions hold that this is a liminal time, when the veil between the worlds is thin. Fairies are about, magic is more potent, and the plants gathered at Midsummer have extra healing power. Speaking of plants, St. John's wort, which you may know as an herbal supplement, gets its name from St. John's Day on June 24th because it blooms right around Midsummer and was traditionally gathered at this time for its protective and healing properties. Mugwort, another plant associated with Midsummer, was used in dream pillows and for enhancing psychic vision. So whether you're drawn to the pre-Christian folk traditions, the neo-pagan Litha celebration, or even just the astronomical significance of the solstice, there is so much richness here to tap into. Alright, let's talk correspondences. These are the symbols, materials, and associations that align with the energy of Midsummer. And knowing them means you can build a practice that feels intentional and connected, even if you're keeping it simple. Crystals. For Midsummer, you want to reach for stones that carry solar energy. Sunstone is absolutely the star of the show. It's warm, golden, and deeply connected to the energy of the sun and personal power. Carnelian brings vitality and creativity. Citrine is abundance and joy. Orange calcite is cheerful and energizing. Tiger's eye is protective and grounding while still carrying that solar warmth. And interestingly, moonstone also has a place at Midsummer because as the sun reaches its peak, we also begin to turn back toward the moon, so it is a beautiful time to honor both celestial bodies. Think summer. Yellow, orange, and gold are your primary palette. These are the colors of the sun, of bees and honey, of ripening grain. If you're dressing your altar or choosing candles for ritual, go warm and bright. Traditional Midsummer foods lean heavily into what's in season and what has historical significance. Pickled or cured fish has deep roots in Scandinavian and Northern European tradition. It connects you to how communities actually celebrated this day for centuries. New potatoes with dill are another Scandinavian staple. Fresh seasonal vegetables are absolutely appropriate. And strawberry desserts. Strawberries ripen right around Midsummer in most of the Northern Hemisphere, so a strawberry cake or tart is a traditional choice, not just a cute one, although they are very cute. We already talked about St. John's wort and mugwort, but the full summer herb list also includes chamomile, calendula, lemon verbena, and meadowsweet. These are all plants that either bloom at Midsummer or have traditional folk associations with the season. If you have a garden, Midsummer is a beautiful time to harvest these herbs. If you don't, dried versions work just fine, I promise. Let's discuss some fun herbal lore around Midsummer. And spoiler alert, some of these seemed downright unhinged, so please take this as entertainment only and not medical, legal, or other advice. You'll see. Holding some chicory up to a locked box or door is said to open it, but only if the chicory is harvested at noon or midnight on the summer solstice. Take some hemp seed to a church at midnight. Walk around the church 9 times, sprinkling the hemp seed as you walk, and say the following. Hemp seed I sow, hemp seed I sow. Who will come after me and mow? According to legend, you will see a vision of your future spouse. Just be careful not to get in trouble with either the church or the law if you do choose to do this. It is said that if you look through a bunch of larkspur at a midsummer fire, your eyes will be preserved for a year until the following midsummer. Now, as someone with poor eyesight, I cannot speak as to how effective this is. Again, not medical advice here. Gather meadowsweet at Midsummer to gather information about thieves. If you've been robbed, place some meadowsweet on some water. If it sinks, you were robbed by a man. If it floats, the thief was a woman. Mistletoe, yes, frequently associated with Christmas and the winter solstice, was cut on the summer solstice, or when the moon is 6 days old. Druids could only use 1 stroke of a golden sickle to cut it, and it was not allowed to touch the ground. A pine cone gathered on Midsummer, with its seeds still attached, contains powerful magic. If you eat 1 pine nut from it every day, you will be immune from gunshots. Remember, this is folklore, not actual medical advice. Maybe Alexander Hamilton should have collected a pine cone and consumed a pine nut daily. Forever in my Hamilton era. Gather some St. John's wort on Midsummer or on a Friday and wear it to keep mental illness at bay and cure melancholy. Who knew that you could just wear it and not take it internally to have the positive effects on depression? And a current note, if you are taking St. John's wort, like the supplement, tell your doctor or medical professional because it can have some serious side effects and interactions with medications. Dry your St. John's wort over your midsummer fire and hang it in a window to keep ghosts, necromancers, and other evildoers away from your house. Burn St. John's wort in order to banish spirits and demons. I don't usually encounter that kind of stuff, so I don't worry about that one too much. Gather vervain at the midsummer, or the rising of the dog star, when neither the sun nor the moon is out. I don't know that one. The source for all of these comes from Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs, which is right behind me. Okay, here's what you've been waiting for. 3 simple rituals you can do at home to mark midsummer, no matter your experience level, your living situation, or your budget. Ritual number 1, the most budget-friendly. Watch the sunrise. I know, it sounds almost too simple, but hear me out. There is something genuinely profound about rising before dawn on the longest day of the year and watching the sun come up. This is what humans have been doing for thousands of years to mark this moment. You don't need any tools. You don't need any special knowledge. You just need to get up. If you want to make it more intentional, you can bring a cup of tea or coffee, sit somewhere quiet, and as the sun rises, think about what you want to call into your life during the second half of the year. Set an intention. Notice the light. That's it. That is the ritual. The power is in the showing up. If you want to do sun salutations, bonus. And a little pro tip there, look up your local sunrise time the night before. That way you're not guessing. Ritual number 2, make and wear a flower crown. Flower crowns are one of the most ancient and universal midsummer traditions across European cultures, and they are genuinely accessible to everyone. You don't need to be crafty. You don't even need expensive flowers. Grab whatever is blooming where you are. Wildflowers from a meadow, flowers from your garden, grocery store flowers if that's what you have access to. Fresh herbs like lavender, rosemary, or chamomile work beautifully too, and they smell incredible. You can use floral wire to make a simple base and twist or tie stems around it, or you can use flexible branches, like willow, as a base and tuck the flowers in. The act of making the crown itself is the ritual. You're working with your hands, you're connecting with plants, you're celebrating the season. Wear it while you do your other midsummer activities, or place it on your altar when you're done. Ritual number 3, the ritual bonfire, or candle vigil. Fire is the heart of midsummer. If you have outdoor space, and it is safe to do so, having even a small fire in a fire pit, a chimenea, or a beautiful fire bowl is a beautiful way to honor the tradition of the midsummer bonfire. Gather around the fire with people you love. You can write down things you want to release, fears, bad habits, situations that are no longer serving you, and burn them. You can simply sit together and share food and conversation. The fire itself is the magic. But I know not everyone has outdoor space, and fire safety is real. If you can't have an actual bonfire, a candle vigil is a wonderful, meaningful alternative. Light yellow, orange, or gold candles, or a Midsummer Night Dreams candle, which is white but filled with everything perfect for the season. Light as many candles as feels right to you. Turn down the other lights. Let the candle flames be your midsummer fire. You can also burn some incense, put on some music, and spend time in quiet reflection or with people you care about. If you want a refresher on a more in-depth candle ritual, go back and watch our video about candle divination. I'll put a link in the description. And then we have our bonus ritual, the ritual bath or shower. This one is my personal favorite for any Sabbath, but it's especially lovely for midsummer. The idea is to treat your bath time as a deliberate ritual of purification and celebration. If you have a bathtub, draw a bath and add a bath bomb, bath salts, or a few drops of essential oil in a midsummer scent. Citrus, lavender, chamomile. Place a piece of sunstone or carnelian near the tub. Light a candle. Put on some music that feels sacred and joyful to you. Read something that feeds your soul. Just be in the water and let yourself be held. If you only have a shower, use some shower steamers, like our Midsummer Night Dreams shower steamers. a seasonal soap or body wash. Again, citrus and herbal scents are perfect. After you shower, use a body butter or body oil. Treat your skin like it deserves attention, because it does. The ritual is in the intentionality. You are cleansing and anointing yourself in honor of the season. Did you know our Midsummer Night Dreams collection is our best-selling blend? And that is Midsummer, friends. One of the most joyful, sun-drenched, abundant moments in the whole wheel of the year. And now you have everything you need to celebrate it. Whether you're waking up for the sunrise, weaving a flower crown in your kitchen, lighting a candle and sitting in the warmth of it, or soaking in a ritual bath, you are participating in something ancient and meaningful. That connection is real. That magic is yours, and nobody can take it away from you. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like. It genuinely helps this channel reach more beginner witches like you who are looking for this kind of content. And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the rest of our Wheel of the Year series, because Lunazal will be here before you know it, and it is a beautiful one. I would love to know what you were doing for Midsummer this year. Drop it in the comments below. Are you watching the sunrise? Having a bonfire? Making a flower crown? Be sure and let me know. As always, every accusation is a confession. Free Palestine. Protect the First Amendment. Justice for Casey Goodson Jr. And do not let up on the Epstein files. Survivors deserve justice and accountability. Take care of yourself. I'll see you next week.